Hello, lovely people. A very good evening to all of you. I hope I'm clearly audible and visible to all of you. So, we are back with yet another very interesting and informative session of Big Bull Ki Pathshala. Just like every session, we have an agenda. So, in this session, also, we have a particular agenda that we're going to keep in mind throughout the session and try to provide you with the latest and the best clarity of the topics or the topic in mind today to you. So before I begin, I have a couple of questions for you. The first question being, are you somebody or are you an undergraduate who is still in his 11th or 12th class and is interested in pursuing management as a career? Are you willing to do your graduation after your 12th standard, of course, from an IIM? If you are aware about an IIM, if you know what an IIM is, you'll be able to understand the relevance of it and the importance of doing your graduation from an IIM. So are you somebody who's interested in doing that? Also, are you somebody who is interested in pursuing an integrated program? If your answers are yes to all the above questions, you are at the right place. You are in the right session, because in our today's session, we are going to discuss in depth about one such program, which is called Integrated Program in Management. As the name suggests, it is a 5-year program offered to you by none other than the best B schools of our country, that are the IIMs, that is Indian Institute of Management. So if you are dreaming to get into management, to pursue a career in finance, HR, marketing, banking, IT, and many more, and work with a renowned MNC, this is the absolute right course for you, because this will land you in the best B schools of our country. So in our today's session, we will be discussing in depth about what this course is. We will be talking about the entrances that can lead you to the gateway of the best IIMs in our country. We will discuss about the syllabus, about the exam pattern of all these entrances, and most importantly, we will take your doubts. So in case you have any questions, any queries about the course, anything that is not really clear to you, this is the right session for you to leave your comments in the comment section. Then me and my very special guest today evening will be more than happy to help you out with it. We will also be discussing about all the rounds related to the admissions and all the tips, the strategies that you need to keep in mind before preparing. The IPM exam, the entrances, for the IPM exam usually takes place in the month of May or June. So right now, in the month of September, is the absolute right time for you to begin with your preparations. And to give your preparations a head start, we have invited a very, very special guest for the evening, who has been an ex-student of Hitbullseye, who has managed to accomplish a dream of getting into an IIM through the various IPM entrances. So please allow me to welcome a very special guest, Mr. Krish. Hi, Krish. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here.
How are you doing, Krish?
I'm doing very well, ma'am.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for taking out time from your very hectic schedule. I know you had an exam today, 2 exams rather.
Yes.
Thank you for taking out your time and being with us and guiding our audiences through their IPM journey.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, someone did that for me as well. I remember exactly a year ago, I was sitting in their place watching interviews of students who actually cleared it. And it seemed like a big, I would say, it feels like a very big milestone to be in those shoes to guide someone else through that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's your time to pay back to them. Okay, Krish. So let's begin with your introduction. Why don't you tell our audiences about yourself?
Hi. So my name is Krish Chaudhary. I come from an army background, so I've shifted in every 2 years or so. I've been based in Delhi for the past 3 to 4 years or so. I took my IPM from IPMAT exam from Delhi, and I completed my 12th from Delhi. Currently, I'm in IIM Rohtak pursuing the IPM course.
Okay, right. And what is your family background?
So, like I said, I come from a generational military background. Actually, my
Okay,
grandfather was also in the army. My father
right,
is currently serving,
right.
and I have a elder sister as well who's also in an IIM pursuing her MBA.
Okay, right. That's amazing. That's amazing. So I know that you are from an army background, that you've told us. So, of course, you must be shifting a lot of places.
Yes,
So, if I ask you, which was that one particular school that you had your maximum schooling from, the maximum duration that you stayed at one particular place?
that would be Army Public School, Dholakua, New Delhi, where I
Okay,
completed my 12th from. So I
okay,
stayed there for 4+ years, which was a very big time.
right. And what stream did you have in your 12th class?
So I had humanities with applied maths and economics, something that isn't very common for students in IIMs actually. So there are
Right.
only two people in my entire batch who come from a humanities background. Mm.
Right, right. I mean, I don't know if it's now, but let's say 5, 7 years ago, taking humanities was a taboo. Like, not a lot of people like used to really support their children, or would ask them to take humanities. They would say, "Nahi science lo, nahi commerce lo." They are more reputed that way,
It's
right?
still that way to an extent, ma'am. But like people have started to get their priorities straight. So even with
Absolutely.
humanities, you can do wonders. Even with commerce, you can do wonders and through science as well. So that's there.
I mean, I feel just बच्चे के पास humanities है, he has all the doors open, वो कुछ भी कर सकता है, because he's not confined to just one particular subject or one particular stream, right? So he has everything open in front of him, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when you were in school, Krish, what was your goal then? What was your, I mean, even before you thought of getting into a management school, or maybe prepare for this particular exam, what was your vision? How did you see your professional career there?
So, mom, one thing's for certain that's still there that I also want to serve. So, I remember back in ninth grade. Before that, it wasn't something definite. Today, I wanted to be an astronaut. Tomorrow, it changed to something else. But since ninth grade, I came across the IPMAT program that's offered by multiple IIMs. So I had 2 to 3 options. One was going abroad, another was pursuing the IPM course, and the third one was joining the NDA. So I
Okay.
had these three options. These three were my primary goals. So, before I started high school is only. So I knew that.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what was your score in the 12th boards?
I got in 86%, ma'am, considering all my 5 subjects. But
Okay,
considering my top four, that would be 92.
okay, right, right, great. So, apart from the IPMAT exam, what are the other entrances that you appeared for?
So I appeared for all the IPMs and GIPMAT exam.
Mm-hmm.
Along with that, I appeared for ISI, which is Indian Statistical Institute's
Mm-hmm.
BSc in Statistics course. And I also appeared for the CUET exam, through which
Mm-hmm.
I was only targeting two universities. That was the University of Delhi and
Mm-hmm.
TIS, that is Tata Institute of Social Science.
Okay, right. Uh, okay, now I'd like to take a pause here and tell my audiences about the exams. So IPM, the course that is Integrated Programming Management, to get admissions into this particular course, there are three entrance tests that you need to qualify for. The first is called the IPMAT Indore, which stands for Integrated Programming Management Admission Test, which is conducted by IIM Indore. The second is IPMAT Rohtak, again, Integrated Programming Management Admission Test, which is conducted by IIM Rohtak. And the third is JIPMAT, that is Joint Integrated Programming Management Admission Test, which is conducted by NTA, that's National Testing Agency, which also conducts your CVT exam. So, in totality, there are 5 IIMs out of the 21 IIMs that we have in our country who offer you this 5 year integrated course as of now. We don't know, maybe by next year we have an addition, but as of now, we only have 5 IIMs. That is IIM Indore, IIM Rohtak, where Krish is right now. Then we have IIM Ranchi, then we have IIM Bodhgaya, and then we have IIM Jammu. So these are the 5 IIMs that offer you this particular course. right? Through GIPMAT, you get admissions into Jammu and Bodh Gaya. So I think that is pretty much clear to you. Now, since Krish has appeared for all the three entrances, he's appeared for Indore also, he's appeared for Rohtak also, he's appeared for GIPMAT also. So he'll be able to give you better understanding. First of all, what is the difference between all the exams? What is the difference between the difficulty level? What is the difference in the exam pattern? Which pretty much is similar. There's just a major difference between Indore and Rohtak. Apart from that, it's pretty much similar. तो अगर आप एक एग्जाम के लिए तैयारी कर रहे हैं आप तीनों के लिए आराम से साथ के साथ अपीयर हो सकते बिकॉज देयर इज नो डिस्टिंक्ट डिफरेंस बिटवीन दैम राइट so Krish, like you gave me a list of all the exams that you appeared for. My very relevant question from a student point of view, अगर कोई बच्चा है जो let's say कि अभी 12th standard में है या अभी 11th class में है, he has his board exams also to prepare for. He has ample of other exams also to prepare for. So from a child's point of view, I would want to ask you, what was your agenda, or what was your strategy in striking a balance between all these entrances?
So ma'am, for me, one thing was pretty clear that my first priority was an IIM oblique a DU top college. So that was my first primary goal only. Now, like one thing that was lucky for my batch was, and I believe it will be the same for the other batches as well, is that the CUET exam, the subjects that are being offered, if you study well for exams like IPM and your school, you'll be able to ace your CUET very easily. It's not something that you have to prepare for independently. So with me, what happened was after 11th, when my 12th began, I started focusing on my IPM prep. And like my school attendance was fairly low because of this, because I used to stay at home as much as I can. And in the morning, I used to study for IPM Quants. That is basically the mathematical reasoning section of IPM. In the afternoon, I used to study for verbal. And in the evening, I used to prepare for my school, basically my main academy. So through this, I struck a balance. Now, obviously, when there were pre-boards coming up, I used to decrease my IPM prep. When there were when there was a big gap between in school, then I used to increase my mocks and I used to stop studying for school. That balance was always there. But once the boards came, so my boards were in March this year. All they took up the entirety of March. So I stopped my IPM prep. I believe in January only, and then I started focusing on my boards. And like that is why I was able to do decent in most of my subjects except mathematics. So what I did was I prepared for my boards very thoroughly, and the way I studied was it's not recommended to every humanities student, but what I did was I used to focus on key points. I used to understand the story. Say if it's history, I used to understand the chronology. Pol science, I myself have an interest in it, so that was very easy for me. Economics, I again used to understand the concepts, so it didn't. So when it came to the boards, I did not have that edge of writing paras and paras, but when it came to CUET, it was very easy for me because I knew the entire concept by heart. And that's what's going to be asked in CUET. It's not about anything that you have to, concise because it's MCQ. So you need to know key points of the chapters. And once you know that, CUET is not really a big hassle per se. And for IPM, I focused on my quants and work.
All right, all right. So let me just look at the comment section now. So we have a question from Kanav who's asking, hello, I want to know what the questions asked in the personal interview. So Kanav will be talking about the PIs in a little while. We'll go in a sequence. First we'll discuss about the exam and then we'll go to the PIs as well. So stay connected. Apart from that, we have your friends cheering you. Then we have Madhur Sharma asking you, how did he prepare? We will disclose it further. We will talk about it further ahead. Right. So let's take up one exam after another. Now we know your background. Now we know your mental state. Now we know the information that you know. How did you know about the exam and all the exams that you prepared for? I would now like to focus on the strategy. So to begin with, let's talk about IPMAT Indore because I feel amongst all the three exams, IPMAT Indore is the toughest one. because of the said reason. So, for the students who do not know about the exam pattern, let me give you a quick brief. So, the IPMAT Indore has three sections. The first two sections are of quant, that is quantitative ability. The first section is subjective. The second section is objective. So, subjective means type in the answer. That means you're supposed to write the answer instead of choosing amongst the four MCQs given to you. The second section, that is quantitative ability, is again objective, and the third section is verbal ability, which is again objective. So this is the exam pattern that you follow. The reason why the IPMAT Indore exam is comparatively difficult to all the other exams is, first of all, because you have higher math. You have a good proportion of higher maths that is asked to you in the exam. And of course, because you have two sections of maths, you can imagine how difficult it is. Of course, there is no negative marking for the subjective part, that is for one section, but for the other two sections, you do have a negative marking. Another reason why this particular exam is very difficult is because you have sectional timings as well as sectional cutoffs. So you need to qualify for the cutoffs. Only then will you be asked, or you will be invited for the second round, that is the PI round, right? So your score in your aptitude round and the PI round, are compiled together. Only then your selection is decided. So that is, and I think that is also quite genuine, because IIM Indore is one of the top five institutes that we have in our country, top five schools that we have in our country, the oldest one, if I put it that way. So that is why the agenda is a little difficult, right? So let's begin with that, Krish. First of all, tell me, how was your experience of appearing for the exam?
So obviously this journey wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. There were tough times, but for Indore specifically, one of the reasons that was a drawback for me, my overall score was way above the cutoffs. But like you said, ma'am, the sectional cutoff part, that's where it got me. So in short answers, that's where I was tough. It's basically you need to fill up, you need to type in the answers. It's TETA, and those are highly based on your higher maths. So there'll be differentiation, continuity, limits. So focus on your 11th and 12th simultaneously if someone's planning on going to Indore. That will put you an edge on non-math students who are appearing for this set exam. This is one drawback that I personally face. But when it comes to verbal, that is your English section, that is the same for everyone. Obviously, the difficulty level varies. So if you prepare like for Indore level or CAT level, you'll be able to cover all three of them. And like there is one thing that Indore doesn't have that much in their paper. That's the DILR basically, which is very much in Indore and in Rohtak and Jammu Bhutia. So DILR is a section that's not a very big component of IIM Indore's paper, but it's replaced by higher math, which is I would say a big problem. So that's where I was stuck. I cleared every other IIM, I cleared IIFT as well, but I couldn't clear Indore because of the higher math section.
Right, right. So, if I talk from the exam day point of view, what section did you find to be the toughest, and what section did you find to be comparatively easier?
So, ma'am, for Indore, I found the short answer to be the toughest, and the verbal to be the, I would say,
Easiest.
comparatively easier. For Rohtak, the paper was very well balanced this year. In fact, many of my batchmates here also, we were discussing that the paper of Rohtak this year, it was fun to attempt it. Like if you were preparing for it, it was very fun to attempt Rohtak's paper because the questions, like if you knew the concept, the questions weren't that difficult. And the paper was well balanced. You just need to follow your own strategy that you've been doing for mocks. Like my personal strategy was I used to first target verbal, followed by DILR, followed by quants. Now everyone has their own strategy. So stick to your strategy. That will obviously help you during the meetings.
All right. So let me give you a little brief about the IPMAT Rohtak exam now. So the IPMAT Rohtak, you have three sections again. You have a section for quantitative ability, that is math. You have a section for logical reasoning, right? And then you have a third section for verbal ability. So the difference between Indore and Rohtak is, of course, first that you do not have an additional section of quant, you have logical reasoning. The second is in Rohtak exam, and I think Krish would agree, the 12th, the higher math is not that much. It is very minimal. It's almost
negligible.
Yeah, right. So that's another thing. Then, of course, there is no sectional timing. You are given a free amount of time. You can use it as you want. So that is why the Rohtak exam is comparatively easier. Now, through the Rohtak exam, you can also get admissions to IIM Ranchi. Just have to fill in a separate form for it. The score will be considered for IPMAT Rohtak itself, right? So that was pretty much the exam pattern. And Trish, you're qualified for IPMAT Rohtak exam itself. Now, again, the IPMAT Rohtak exam is followed by a PI round. That means you need to qualify for the personal interview round as well. That we'll discuss in brief, in a detail right after this next segment. Now let's talk about the GIPMAT exam. So Joint Integrated Program in Management Admission Test. The syllabus is absolutely similar to that of IPMAT Rohtak. You again have three sections only. You have math, you have reasoning, and then you have English, right? So Krish, how was your experience with the GIPMAT exam?
So I got into the first list of Jammu as well as Bodhya, but like if I'm being honest, my experience for Rohtak was way better than my experience for Jammu and Bodhya. So when I solved when I took the paper of Jammu and Bodhya, I knew I was going to get in, but I personally didn't feel very satisfied after attempting the paper. The paper again had three sections. The first, if I'm not wrong, mistaken, was a logic quants followed by LR followed by verbal. So the verbal I faintly remember because it has been 2 months or so. The verbal section was fairly easy, but the short answer section, but the quant section was slightly difficult, and I could say the same about LR. So Rohtak's LR this year, I personally felt was very comparatively easier, but Jammu Bodhya's LR is slightly more tricky, so you need to revise the concepts.
Right. Right. So we'll take a hold. Let's take up the questions from the comment section. Hello, I want to ask that for NMAT College Mumbai, I have to prepare CUET. No, Radhika, the NMAT, that is Narsim Munshi, they conduct their own entrance test by the name NMAT. So you'll have to prepare for the NMAT exam. They have their own entrance test. They do not consider the CUET scores as of now. There might be a change next year, but as of now, you'll have to prepare for the NPAT exam, NP8. Okay, next question is, what was the source of your preparation for the entrances? So, Krish, this is the question for you. What was the source of your preparation for the entrances?
So ma'am, like I diversified all my I heard I'm not able to recall where I heard this, but I heard it from someone that diversify the kinds of questions you're being exposed to, because sometimes it might so happen if you're stuck to a certain kind of book. Like I practiced Arun Sharma thoroughly, so the cat variant, I practiced that thoroughly. Then if once I did a topic, I had a certain list of check marks. If I was able to do every one of them, that meant I have proficiency in that topic. Like for example, take a boats and streams. So once I was done with the first, I used to watch Hitbullseye's lecture. Then I used to look into the short tricks and tips, followed by solving the worksheets and the questions provided in the Hitbullseye's dashboard, which was later again followed by if topic-wise mocks available. And then finally, I used to practice from like CAT LOD 1 level questions. That gave me the proper opening about if I've done this topic, now I have the complete proficiency. Then I used to move on to another topic.
Right, right. That's quite a strategic planning, I must say, Krish. Very, very well done. And that has led you to your success, to your way to IIM Rohtak. Okay, now if I talk about all these three exams combined, there are a couple of things that I feel is very challenging for somebody who is in the 12th standard and for somebody जिनका ये पहला entrance test है life में, because जब आप school से निकलते you must have just appeared for Olympiad in your school, इसके अलावा ऐसा कोई competitive exam आपने दिया नहीं होगा. So it's basically your very first experience about it. So 2-3 things that I feel is very challenging about these exams, and I would really love to know how did you cope up with them. The first is time management, especially for the IPMAT Indore exam. How are you able to manage your time, because you have sectional timings. That means आपको एक section, let's say 40 minute में खत्म करना है. अगर आपने 40 मिनट में वो क्वेश्चन सेक्शन अटेम्प्ट नहीं किया, यानी कि कुछ क्वेश्चंस रह गए, कुछ अटेम्प्ट नहीं हुए, कुछ आप नहीं पढ़ पाए, दैट इज नॉट गोइंग टू मेक अ डिफरेंस. You automatically will be switched to a different section and then so on. So that means there has to be a stipulated amount of time that you put towards the preparation or towards appearing for one particular question. Right. So, how did you manage that? And that also works for Rohtak also. Even if Rohtak में sectional timing नहीं है, आपके पास overall timing, that is even more tough, I feel, क्योंकि वहाँ पे आपको खुद division करना है sections में time का. How did you manage to do that? That is the first challenge I would want to talk about.
So, a simple answer would be mocks are sacrosanct. So,
Mhm.
as many mocks you do, the more proficient you'll get with the time management. Say you got stuck on a question, panic attacks, and take proper mocks, because I remember back in 10th grade, someone gave me advice like we didn't have our boards, but beforehand, before we didn't know that we were not gonna have our boards, someone told me to take sample papers as much as possible, which are very similar to mock. But the problem was I didn't used to sit in the proper environment of an exam. So I would suggest sit in a proper environment, take up as many mocks as you can, and like I don't know about every single one of the mocks out there, but Hitbullseye's mock, they had a proper analysis system. So every question, which topic was it from, and it automatically used to tell you that this topic is where you're lacking, this section is where you're lacking. So what I used to do was I used to take up as many mocks as I wanted, as much as I could, and what basically that led to was say Rohtak's paper. I knew that 30 minutes in, now I have to switch a section, and every question as well. They had their own timer going on, that how long this question timing is. So what I did was I personally used to keep an eye on the timing. Didn't used to take stress from it, but always kept an eye. And one thing that personally I would suggest, if it's possible for anyone out there, don't if you're very serious about coming to an IIM, I would suggest take other entrance exams which are scheduled beforehand, so that you have an idea of how reporting to a center, giving your biometric, all of that, because that's a new experience. So it
Absolutely.
shouldn't. For me, I attempted the September 22 as NDA examination. Now, I developed a back injury. It was a temporary one, which
Mhm.
led me unfit to join the NDA at this moment. So, but I still took that exam because I got the exposure of sitting in an exam hall, entrance examination. So that was there. That is something that I feel like everyone should be exposed to before
Mhm.
their dream entrances. And but one thing's for sure, that I would suggest no entrance for teachers. Mocks are sacrosanct. So take as many mocks as possible. There are many like Hitbullseye's mocks. I found them to be very well balanced. But I was also enrolled in some other mock test programs as well. So take up as many mocks as you can, because that's gonna really open the way you look at the paper. Take up a diagnostic beforehand. If you're just starting your prep, take up a diagnostic test so that you understand where you're lacking. Some people feel like they are very excellent in English, but when they actually sit and do verbal, they realize it's not the case. So
Yeah.
first finish that, and then you later realize what to do and what not.
Right, right. Talking about the verbal section, especially, I feel the kind of content or the kind of preparation that you have in the English section till your 12th standard is more literature based. You don't really have a lot of grammatical questions in your 11th and 12th class. And majority of the exams, whether it is CUET, whether it matter even NDA or whether it matter even IPM, all of these have English and they have good English, focusing on the vocabulary, focusing on the grammatical accuracy, focusing on a lot of such things. So it's very, very important that you actually don't depend on your fluency or how well versed are you in English, rather depend on the understanding that you have for that particular subject, right?
Yes, ma'am, because in the written part, no one's gonna, obviously, being proficient in a language is not going to do you any harm, especially in the PI round, you even boost your scores. But for that, at that very moment, it's more important that you know the nitty-gritties of the language, like grammar, how to read properly, your reading comprehensions, strategies, and all. So all of that I feel like are more important at that moment as compared to language proficiency and conversation.
Right, absolutely. Let's talk about the quant section now. For the quant section, let's presume that there is a student who has not who did not have math in his 11th and 12th class. So do you think he has a additional disbenefit, or is he on a disadvantageous side because he did not have higher math if he's preparing for the IPM exams?
So, ma'am, if he's preparing for Indore, there's that one thing that he won't be exposed to the same kinds of questions. But at the same time, like I have many batchmates here who come from a non-math background, and I have friends in Indore who are also from a non-math background. So it's all about how you're prepping yourself. So what you can do is, if you're sure that you want to go for IPM and you're opting for a non-math degree in your 11th and 12th, you could start prepping for, because the quant section, especially for the Rohtak, it's not very higher math based. So it's I would say on the base level, the same math that you study till 10th grade. So be proficient in that till 10th. If you're someone below 10th, be proficient in till the math on the maths you have till 10th, and after that start. I would say entrance based mathematics. So quants basically. That's there for many examinations, whether that be IPMs, CATs, CAT, ZAT, all of these exams. They all have quants as a subject. So the topics here aren't the same that you study in 11th and 12th. So you're basically more or less on the same boat as someone who has have maths in their 11th and 12th. But yeah, they have had more exposure to the numbers in a consistent manner. So
Absolutely.
you need to start prepping from the first day that you're excited.
I also feel if you do have higher math, I mean, if you have taken math in your 11th and 12th class, it gives an additional confidence also. Otherwise, if somebody जिसको पता है कि हाँ जी मेरा इस particular portion में there are going to be questions, you will always be a little hesitant. Maybe you won't get that confidence because when you're studying at school, when you're studying a topic for such a long period of time, it gives a lot of confidence also because you're studying it from all the angles. You're taking boards on the same topics. You're appearing for the free boards also. You have other internal tests also going on. So it gives an additional uh, confidence also to appear for such exam. And of course, you have an edge over the other people, right?
You
So if
have
you're
faith.
yeah,
You have faith that you can attempt. ये section हो जाएगा. These kinds of questions I can do. So that's there.
right. So now let's talk about the reasoning section. So reasoning section I feel is one of those sections जिससे बच्चे are absolutely unfamiliar because they have not studied or have gone through those topics in the graduation or in the 12th standard as well, right? So what was your strategy for preparing for the reasoning section?
So, ma'am, when it comes to reasoning, one thing that I personally realized was that um, it's very logical once you get the hang of it. So, don't look at it as an alien subject or like your DI and LR. It's just look at it like as a fun puzzle. And like I know people who really enjoy doing DI LR,
Mm-hmm.
especially LR. So,
Mm-hmm.
once you, it's obvious. Now, I had applied maths. So, in our 11th, we had some topics of logical reasoning, but
Mm-hmm.
many people don't, which is completely fine. But all I would say is don't be scared of it when you're starting the topic, because these topics are very interesting once you get the hang.
Right.
So yeah, that's there, that you're not you don't know much about these subjects, but at the same time they aren't something that you should be afraid of.
Chalo, ठीक है, Krish. That was a lot of information from you. Let's have some fun now. We'll have a rapid fire round now. Okay, so I have a couple of questions aligned that are a little quirky in nature. So you need to be really quick in your answers, right? So whatever
Um,
answer comes first in your mind, you need to speak it out first, right? So let's begin.
so,
So the first question is, if you had to compare your preparation journey to a movie title, which one would it be?
it'll be Pursuit of Happiness, man.
Nice. One song that became your study anthem.
So it'll be Lo-Fi and Get Out of My Way by Zach Henry.
Nice. Coffee or tea during those late night study sessions?
So for me, that was around 3 a.m. Mostly it was coffee, but when I ran out of it, tea was not a bad alternative.
Okay. The weirdest place that you've ever studied?
Um, I would say a bus.
A
Like,
bus. While traveling.
uh, yeah,
Okay. A fictional character you relate your academic journey to?
Mr. Bean.
Nice. Which subjects almost became your kryptonite?
Not almost, they were a short answer, higher maths.
All right. One snack you binged on during breaks?
There were these kebabs that I used to get from a local store nearby. So whenever I used to get time, I used to go cut them, add some onions to it, and fry them, and have a garlic.
Right, right. First thing you did after you realized that you've qualified for the exam?
Uh, Basically, when I was shortlisted for Rohtak, I had a fight with my father beforehand. And he told me that you don't study, you're not going to get a good college. So after that, I'd gone for a run. And after that, I remember I came back. I was about to go for a shower, but I opened my laptop just to check my mail, and I saw a mail from IIM Rohtak. So I took a screenshot and I put it under Bold's key. I don't study, and I sent it to my father. But obviously, he had my best interest at heart.
Of course. Right. If your exam prep had a mascot, what would it be?
Uh, a beaver.
Okay.
It's the
Right. Okay. Describe the moment you saw your result in one emoji. You're supposed to enact the emoji.
So for my first time when I saw that message that you've been congratulations, you've been selected for IIM Rohtak. That would be I don't think there's an emoji for that, but I was
Was
in
it
utter
like that
shock.
Miss Universe one? Like, oh, that way?
Yeah, probably because even though my paper was very had gone very well, but the problem was that everyone's exam had gone well. So I felt like
Right.
the cutoffs would be very high, but
Right.
yeah, I was still in utter shock that I got it.
Okay. One surprise topic you wish you had prepared more for?
I am maths, but yeah, especially I would say calculus.
Okay. Which celebrity would you want to play you in a movie about your prep journey?
Carl Penn.
Okay. Describe your study routine in 3 words.
Um, Hectic, um, and hectic and hectic.
Okay. Lastly, one fact about your preparation days that nobody knows about.
I used to listen to music when I was doing mocks.
Oh, that's a very
Something that
common. That's a very common
no,
answer.
something that still people don't know about because
Right.
I used to do a lot of mocks. I used to study a lot, but if somebody just picked the earphone out and put it in their ears, they wouldn't believe that I was studying because it's a general notion that people don't study with the help of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, but I personally feel listening to music actually helps you concentrate. It builds
Yeah.
your concentration. I personally.
Yes, that's there.
Right, right. Okay, so we have the last 10 minutes left for a session. Here, I would want to discuss about the second difficulty that I feel a student might feel when appearing for these entrances, the negative marking. So, Krish, how did you cope up with the negative marking for these exams?
So, ma'am, so negative marking is something that a lot of people are scared of, and everyone has their own, I would say, philosophy and strategies for it. So,
Hmm.
what I thought came to know about it, say, for Rohtak, guess you are allotted 4 marks for every correct answer and -1 for every wrong answer.
Hmm.
So, say there are four questions, three questions, and
Hmm.
you feel like you can't do two of them, but
Hmm.
you feel like you might hit something, like you might be correct about one of them.
Hmm.
So what might happen is you have the probability, say you take an answer and then you select three wrong.
Hmm.
So that would be 4 minus 3, 1. You still get
Hmm.
awarded
Hmm.
an extra mark.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that wouldn't have been there if you would have skipped the all four questions entirely.
Right.
So that's something I personally feel like one should take into consideration. But at the same time, you need to check your own proficiency. So
Mhm.
these kinds of things, dealing with negative marking, dealing with time management, panic attacks. The
Mhm.
best way to deal with this is in mocks, during mocks, because during
Mhm.
mocks it's just you and you alone. You could see
Right.
how you perform, your
Right.
analysis, and
Mhm.
that's when you realize that okay, these kinds of questions, when I go Hail Mary, it rebounds very badly, or this
Right.
helps.
Right, right. I hope that will be helpful for the people. But lastly, I would want to talk about your PI experience. So you have appeared for the PI for Rohtak. So tell our audiences about your experience and what did you learn from it?
So I applied for, there are two actually. One of them is not that famous. The IPL program,
Right,
integrated program in law, that is
right,
also offered at IIM Rohtak, but it's a 5 year
right,
course without a 3 year exit option, unlike IPM. So
right.
what happened? I was shortlisted for both of them. Now my IPL interview had gone a bit better as compared to my IPM interview, but I got a call from both of them. So during my IPM interview, I clearly remember when I joined. So in my room, in my actual room at my place, I have a small, I have a drawing of yin and yang. So it's basically, many people might have seen it. It's a big circle
Yeah,
that's covered with black
yeah.
and white on two halves. So
Mm-hmm.
what happened
Mm-hmm.
with me was when I sat in the meeting, first they verified all the documents. Then they asked me to in Rohtak, it's very common to give you an extempore. So I got an extempore on why EVs are an upcoming future. Critically analyze the statement. So while I was coming up with that, I had a 13-inch laptop at the moment. So while I was writing down key points, they thought maybe that I was typing on a laptop. So they told me don't not to use the internet. I assured that I was not using it, but I feel like that might have left a mark. But either ways, so once I was done with my key points, I started giving my extempore. They cut me in the before even ending it, I guess in midway. So that is something that many people take as a confidence hit, but it's completely fine. So that was followed by asking about what that drawing was. So I explained what it is and what relevance it has. This was followed by another question that they had was, Krish, what was your academic background? So I told them I was a humanities student. Now, this is something that I feel like many humanities students don't have an edge on, is that humanities, like I said, isn't something very common in IPM programs. So the questions that the professors have beforehand, they aren't that many of humanities questions. So the questions they asked me were not actually from my curriculum. And I was able to answer some of them, but I messed up a majority of them. But it was still fine. At the end, they asked me to show some extracurricular certificates, which I showed, and in many of them, I had come second in a national event that was conducted by the Marketing Society of Sri Ram College of Commerce. So
Mm-hmm.
that one left a good impression. Followed by I was also a captain at a leadership camp that was organized by the Western Command of the Indian Army. So I showed that as well. So these left a good impression. So yeah, obviously select the certificates that you're showing carefully, because they'll help you, and be as respectful and sweet, but at the same time firm as you can during your PI round, I would say.
Right. So I think that was quite an informative journey about the PI rounds. What are the last tips, Krish, the last tips that you want to give the people who are preparing for, let's say, IPMAT 24? The tips, the mistakes that you have done that you would not want other people to make. So last 2 minutes tip quickly for the audience.
So one thing I would suggest, like many of my juniors, once I cleared it from my school and from everywhere, started calling me, asking me how should I prep. So one thing that after coming to the IIM, I would say is get your priorities straight, because many of my mates who have already left IIM Rohtak, because they didn't know. Many people don't know if they actually want a BBA or what the curriculum is going to offer. Because one thing's for certain that people don't realize is you're being going to be exposed to an atmosphere that is being made to for 22, 23-year-olds who are who have entered the industry or who have completed your graduation, and you're going to get into that environment at the age of 18, 19. So it's not going to be the same as your regular college experience. It's going to be way more hectic. But obviously, the skills that we'll learn, like we'll be more, as I was talking to many of our seniors, like second years or third years, they seem to be so mature, even after staying in 1 or 2 years in the program, because you're being exposed to the environment that MBA B school students do, who are later going to lead the
Right.
industries. So
Right.
uh, but at the same time, it's very hectic, especially at IIM Rohtak. You have to go for yoga, you have this, that, a lot of commitments. So I would suggest first get your priorities straight. Do you actually want to get into corporate? If you do, what's the way? Can you handle that hectic life? There won't be anyone to motivate you. At 5 a.m. when the alarm rings, you're the one who has to stop it and get your yoga mat, walk 600 meters in a very dark time to attend yoga. So these are things that you have to need to have that self motivation. And once you have done that, and if you're sure that you want to come to an IIM, I don't see a fault in it, because it's a safe, secure degree.
Right, right. So we're almost towards the end of the session, Krish. I would like to thank you for your very, very precious time, for the precious information that you've given out to our audience today. And I'm pretty sure if they follow it, they will be also where you are right now. Right. So thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for being here with us, and looking forward to many more such sessions in the future. Right. Thank you so
Sure.
much.
Thank
And
you.
all your audiences out there, I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope you found the session to be informative. We tried to answer all your questions in the comment section. Still, if you have any questions, any queries, feel free to post it in the comment section, and we'll be more than happy to help you out with it. Enjoy your time. If you've not yet started your preparations for IPMAT 24, begin them today, because there's not a lot of time left. You'll have to cope up with the boards as well, right? So use your time in the best way possible. Take help if you want. And we are here to support you at Hitbullseye anytime that you like. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend, and all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.